take a roll call, John?
Maria Surprise,
I'm here.
Mark Francis,
Present.
Chad Hawk,
Present.
Kate Day, Aldo Revito,
Here.
Ashley Royal,
Here.
Pete Powers.
Okay, next on the agenda, public comments on the agenda items. There's nobody here. So we make a motion to approve the minutes of the last meeting. Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Minutes are approved. Going to vote to elect the chairman, vice chairman, and secretary. How do we go about doing that? I never actually handled a vote. Is it just we nominate?
Last person to step backwards.
They make a nomination, that, somebody make a motion, make a nomination, and then they'll vote on,
Just
the chairman.
Okay, so
Somebody has
then,
to second it too. You can discuss it if you want.
well, is there any volunteers to be chairman first?
I think you're as
I think
close
you
to a
look
volunteer. I
That's what I
will
was thinking.
nominate
I would make a
Aldo
motion
as,
to nominate.
I nominate
Chairman.
Alden.
Okay, chairman, and we have a volunteer for the vice chairman. Oh, wait, we did take a vote, so.
Oh, yeah, we can
All in
vote.
favor, say, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Well, I thank you for that very much, appreciate it. Do we have a volunteer for vice chairman?
I'll volunteer for that.
I'll make a motion, Ashley?
Oh, actually, I'll motion to nominate Ashley for vice chair.
I'll second.
Second it. Do I vote on it then?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Congratulations, Ashley. Is there any
I
volunteers
got
for
big shoes to
secretary?
fill.
Would anybody like to be secretary?
I'm fine with doing it.
You wanna do it, Chad?
I would like to nominate Chad Hawk to be secretary.
That was quick, Maria.
Yeah. Jump right in there. I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, it's unanimous for Chad to be secretary.
You got those down, girl.
Okay,
It
we got
was
all
very
that.
quick, but I got it.
That was easy. Yeah.
So we're done with that, okay.
Was there an opposed on the first one?
No.
That was good though.
I heard opposed.
Let's go back to that. No, it's-
I could do it just for fun, you know.
All right.
That's
Okay, we're gonna have a public hearing for revisions to town ordinances 157.085, 157.060, 157.006, 154.21 H2, and 154.36 C2, small c, and adoption to chapter 153.
Mr. Chairman, I got a question. In my book of ordinances, I don't find a 154.36 uppercase Charlie to lowercase Charlie. Mine ends in Bravo. Is this a
That's the
new,
case in my book too.
is this a new addition?
I'd also like to know where do we get a book like you, Douglas?
Heather?
Heather?
Heather.
Okay, thank you. I've been doing the online.
It's actually missing out of my book too.
That may be an
I
amendment
thought that was,
addition
I
to.
thought that was the addition.
I think it's an addition.
Which one is it?
It's 154.36 C2C. My book ends
Reduce the square
in
footage of
B.
accessory structure.
It should be. Or 1536. Well, that's it.
Yeah, we made a note
I
of it.
would tell you what page it's on, but
We're looking at.
the page is,
It's 36 now, Lane. But, Apparently in my book, the whole 154.24 is not in it. So is that all new?
Look online.
Is 154.36 in your book at all?
Yeah, it's in there. It's
It's actually the,
It's a floodplain.
wherever the 150 is, the square foot for accessory structures on the 154, that's where it's supposed to be. She's going to get the book,
Mhm.
but I'm looking at 154.20, it's actually under the section of accessory structures, so it would be under 154.22. There was a text amendment there that took it from 150 to 100 because the ordinance was to change it from 150 to 100 to bring us into line with the NFIP guidance, okay?
Right.
Which means that everywhere it says 150, it's going to get switched to 100. So it would also be 154.36(2), B2,
He's right in the electronic version.
oh, speed, B1.
It's in there, it just,
I got it right here. Give me a second, I'm about to pull it up.
Oh, okay.
154.36, 5C is what it should be.
Say that one more time.
Okay, it's supposed to be 154.36. You got C, D, E, so it would be C, 5, C. It's weird how it's,
C5C, I see it.
yep.
Accessory
C,
structures,
Yep,
less than
so where it
150.
takes 150 to 100. So what we did was a text amendment to make all the 150 accessory structures into 100 feet.
The one I was talking about was under 2. So this is 5, 6, we're good. It's there.
So, so it's 154.36
C,
C5C.
yeah,
All right.
where it says accessory structures less than
Yep,
150 square feet meet the requirements of 154.21. 154.21 are the minimum standards for accessory structures.
Accessory structure, there it is. There it is as well. Okay.
Got it. So, well, there's no, obviously no members of the public here for the public hearing, so we should move on to act on the amendments to the town ordinances.
The first order of business,
Mhm.
make sure we follow. So did y'all approve the minutes?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Vote for elect chair.
Yes.
Yep.
Did that. So now what you've already been past the public hearing revision,
Mhm.
okay? There's no comments. So you're gonna act on these consistency statements that are in the packet.
Mhm.
Each one of them is listed with the ordinance that was to be affected and the effective change. If y'all want clarification on any of those, we'll try to do our best. But the very first one in the packet is 157.085, which is that provision where it was redundant and actually in conflict with the North Carolina Building Code. So we are removing that obstacle to both property owners, general contractors, and to our staff of having a structure that's going to be relocated go before the Board of Adjustments. And this was actually their recommendation, that it was an unnecessary trip for folks to do. It cost them, if they have to get a Board of Adjustment hearing, it cost them time, it cost them money, and It doesn't buy them anything except for a next step where we either approve it or deny it. So we're actually the approving agency under the North Carolina North Carolina building.
I move we approve
The consistency.
the
Yeah,
consistency statement
Yeah, what you gotta do.
for section 157.085.
You need to take the consistency statement into consideration. And then if you want to approve it, make a motion, and then have discussion. But you have to really basically say we are taking it into consideration.
Okay.
That's the way the statute is written. In other words, you've reviewed it,
Yeah.
you agree with it. And if you're not sure what this is, do y'all want me to explain what what it
do.
basically says is that we checked it against the Campbell land use plan and
Mhm.
our hazard mitigation plan, and we can't find any conflict with
So they're all the same? These are just the
it. Each one has to go with each one of the ordinance changes.
ordinance,
So
okay.
you're gonna have to
Section
vote
use
on
of
all of them.
property.
You're
Gotcha.
gonna have to consider them individually.
And just for point of clarification, once these are approved, then they go to the next Board of Commissioners meeting for the Commissioners' approval.
Okay, so here's how it works.
Okay.
Once y'all approve this, what you're saying is that we've held a public hearing at this stage.
Right.
Y'all looked at it and said, yeah, y'all agree with it, it can go forward. And then it goes through the exact same thing there. What they have to do is I take it to them, they then set a public hearing for the next meeting, and then before they can approve it, before they approve the ordinance, they will consider the consistency statements and then approve the ordinance if they so choose.
Okay, so on the first one, we've taken this into consideration. Is there any discussion?
No, I'm good.
Everybody's clear? Yep. Make a motion? Make a motion
Move
to
we
What?
approve the consistency statement and recommend,
I would say make a motion to approve consistency statement for section 157.085
If we have to do them each separate.
as amended.
I second it. All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
aye.
Any opposed? Okay, first one, this statement is approved. Move on to the second consistency statement, which involves 157.060. Taking the consistency statement into consideration. Is there any discussion? Put forth for a vote.
I make a motion to approve the consistency statement.
Anybody second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And we need to amend that motion for 157.060.
157.060, that's the one I'm voting on right now,
Yes.
yes. All in favor?
Yay.
Any opposed? Okay. That decision is unanimous. This is the consistency statement that we're taking into consideration for 157.006. Any discussion?
Is this just a clarification, or, had it always been one parking spot per bedroom?
No, what this was that this was not a clarification, this is a stopgap where there's an issue with folks who have parking spaces, and whenever they have to use a parking space that's partially under the building and not partially outside the building, if they choose to enclose the building and then put in a garage door, they no longer get to use that parking space.
Got it.
So, and basically what was happening is that they would do something that would or choose to do an enclosure and then try to claim the parking space is still available, and it's not, because they got a garage over it. So what this does is eliminate the possibility, and we took out how many we got out there, where they actually came in and got an enclosure, but because we didn't have any way to keep them from doing that. And we know how critical our parking is.
Yeah.
We need every spot. So
Got
this
it.
basically closes a loophole that would allow people to unknowingly do away with one of their own parking spots. Jana actually taught this when she was doing it.
Naturally, everybody that has one now will be grandfathered in. and
Yeah.
Just going
Yeah.
forward.
Yeah.
I move we approve the consistency statement
All in
Or-
favor, say?
for 157.006.
All in favor?
I'll second that.
Aye.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That consistent statement is approved unanimously. Move on to the last one. We're taking into consideration the consistency statement for section 154. Any discussion?
And this was the one like to adopt the section regarding the flood zone?
Yeah, this
Yes.
is one where we, right now, we have we could get deemed for
Right.
points because we're actually got 50 more square feet than is allowed under the NFIP guidelines. So we're basically not following the rules. Now, we don't have any enclosures, we've never, but because it's in there, they will literally penalize us.
Well, I'll make a motion to approve the consistency statement to section 154 as amended.
Anybody second?
I'll second
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And the consistency statement for section 154 is approved unanimously.
Discussion.
And I was busy over here. Who did y'all adopt as the chairman? It was you, I guess.
Who's been?
Okay, so we don't need to change the document.
Yeah, you can sign it.
So the next one, bottom line.
Is in reference to the town hall meeting the other day, where talking about putting concrete next for the rocks not getting into the road. Is
Yeah,
that
we,
correct?
are we there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is number 8.
Okay, yeah, this is where I spoke up the other day, created work for staff, I guess. But he might even remember it, but years ago, numerous times during meetings, I brought up before we ever had sidewalks, that we need to do something about these rocks in the road. Yeah, and I saw a kid face plant out there before we had, because of those rocks. And, over the years, I've given a lot of thought, and I told them that if they wanted us to, we could bring it to the planning board and have a discussion. And what it amounts to now is in the first 20, the setbacks, in the setbacks in the front yard, next to the adjacent roads, you're not allowed to have anything but gravel. Now, there's old houses out there that's got some concrete driveways, but if they ever take them up, they wouldn't be able to put them back. And that's only in the first, in the setbacks. Once if they're further back in the setbacks, then they can have concrete up there as long as they don't exceed our 40% stormwater rules. Now, most of those houses that have been built out there didn't benefit from the 40% rule, where we changed it from 30 to 40 to help people with their non-conforming structures, both on canals and on out front where they had a lot that, they had built to the maximum of 30% that was non-conforming, so they couldn't expand. And so the board increased that, I can't remember when I carried it to them, but it went through the planning board, and we got a 40%, changed that to 40%. So it was last summer. Now, yeah, so we should, have us containing it, we should allow people who normally couldn't touch anything on their house and actually start the remodeling. And it actually has some people are starting remodeling. The issue here is what we would want to see, how much of it we would want to see, and where we would want to allow it. Well, clearly where I said right up next to the street would be where we would want to allow it. I would recommend that we don't allow anything but pervious concrete. That the language includes that you can't exceed the 40%. You can't already have more than 40% impervious area. But if you got 39, then I would say we let them do it. You follow what I'm saying? Because you're already exceeding it. Because we all know that pervious concrete is not 100% impervious. So I would, it's a public safety factor issue, I think. And it should help us with some maintenance to some degree. I guess we need to try to figure out how much it's going to take, how much it'll help, if we think it'll help. And like I said, what materials and where should we locate? And I'll give you an example when I talk about location. That side's not hard to figure out. This side with the sidewalk, they want to have some rules for this side. It wouldn't be an issue in yacht watch because we actually have to stop them because they actually have a POA rule that says they can do it. You know what I mean? So it might be an issue in Heron Landing Wine. They have special stormwater rules for their subdivision from DEQ. I don't think it's going, Fort West has similar, but Fort West pretty much follows on.
We follow it.
Yeah.
We have the no concrete
Yeah.
and all that, so yeah, we follow this.
Yeah, and there's rocks right there in the road.
There's always rocks in the road.
Yeah, rocks
Always
in the road.
rocks in the road.
Yeah. So,
Yes, sir.
I mean, we can bring some stuff back to you, like some pictures maybe some recommendations if y'all want to see that. I'm pretty well versed on pervious and impervious concrete. We can do things like, because it requires maintenance, we can tell them if they want to do it. We can, we can say it's not mandatory. Because, and here, I guess I'm getting a little confusing here, but they've got a lot of work to do out by the road now. Everywhere they put that sidewalk, the property owners are gonna have to constantly maintain their rocks right up next to that. They're having to constantly do it, so some people may wanna keep them and keep doing that, and some may want the option, so we may have to think about that. There's just a lot to bring back to you, but I think that we can. I'm not sure we can get it back to you at the next meeting, but I think we can bring a bunch of stuff back. But one of the biggest things that I would recommend is that whatever we do, that we require them to record, if you go to that length, I would recommend they have to record it at the county whenever they want to put pervious concrete there. And y'all may go ahead, go with pervious concrete, and we can discuss it with the stormwater engineer that we have. There's a lot we could do. I think it's a discussion with everybody.
Sure.
Well, this is pervious concrete out here, isn't it, on the sidewalk?
It was when it was poured, yes.
Yeah. Is there any other pervious concrete on the market
FDE
now?
has pervious concrete, where we just put the new ADA stuff.
Oh, okay.
You didn't have a chance to go to visit it, we had to yet to go down there, I'm very proud of the work that we've done down there. 114 OBE has pervious concrete, those two sites were completely covered in pervious concrete. Both of them were designed by a stormwater engineer, which, we could come up with our own standard, like the driveways, so they didn't have to pay for a stormwater engineer, but we could just pay an engineer to give us the standard. In other words, we would have a seal on it, and then we would require them to record the fact that they've done that. And the reason being is most pervious concrete requires what we've never done here, which is
Maintenance. What kind of maintenance, like pressure washing or?
make sure it's clear.
Yeah.
Make sure it's clear.
We had a discussion before the meeting about, what was it, load bearing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is
But it
that,
comes in different compression strengths, just like, it comes in
Okay.
different, just like regular concrete. The higher compression strength, the more money is spent.
Yeah.
yeah,
And you can drive on it. you can drive on, I mean, we've had 10 billion cars on 114 OBE, and they are cracking.
So what we're looking at though would be a volunteer basis if they decide to do it.
I don't think you can make it mandatory because we had a rule in the past that said you couldn't do it.
Right.
Right.
But, I mean, I
Well,
don't think any of us want to
you'd be
stop.
charging people to do something or asking them to spend money that they legally can't make them do.
Right, I don't think it, that, I've never seen that work.
Right.
But I'm still saying that we can put it out there. See, the town could write a rule that says, you know, if you're not gonna do, here's what you can't do. If you're not gonna do it, then we have to go out there and start cleaning up your driveway. And we have to start making, you know, I mean, that could be,
Yeah,
you know, we
but-
could write a rule that that's a nuisance or something to that effect.
But the town, I mean, there's both sides of it. The town decided to make the road wider. It
No.
wasn't as bad as of a problem as now.
The DOT decided.
We wanted the bike lanes.
Well,
We asked for those bike lanes, let's be honest, right? We did not require those. That made the problem as worse than it is now, because we bumped it in. So it's almost like it would be a town responsibility at this point. If we're trying to solve it for safety purposes, for something that we created, it feels like we're trying to solve a problem that we created, that it's a voluntary thing for homeowners, that they may choose not to do it, so we're still gonna have the same problem.
And I understand what you're saying,
So,
but being in this position for as long as I've been in this position, here's what you're gonna hear. Here's what you're gonna hear. Those rocks were going in the road before we put the sidewalks in.
Yeah, but
It was already a problem.
you got bikers, and
Yeah.
you decided to say, I'm putting pedestrians now in those areas. Before it was just cars and a sidewalk. Now we have pedestrian areas that are specifically dangerous. Those biking areas are dangerous.
I bike it a lot, and it's,
I know.
So we created the situation. We wanted something and we didn't put anything behind it from a maintenance point of view, right? We didn't. So we're here, is my point. If you're gonna go to a homeowner and say, hey, we're gonna change the rule and say you can do impervious and it's all voluntary, why would they do anything? Or then if we're gonna penalize them if they don't do anything for something we created, I think
I'd be a
We're
little
flipping the head.
disappointed, I'd be a little disappointed because of the number of people that wanted me fired when I told them they couldn't have concrete there. A little disappointed, might wanna call a few of them, ask them why it's not done.
No, I hear you, but
We hear it every day. They
Yeah.
all wanna put concrete there. We've even had people put concrete up, down, so we've had to make them tear it up and find them. You know what I'm saying? And it's because of the stormwater. The
Yeah.
reason it's not allowed is because, let's not forget that whenever rains are here,
Yeah.
we're all swimming down the boulevard.
Yeah.
But we are taking measures for the stormwater, hopefully a little bit at a time. But these are the kind of discussions you've got to have.
I agree.
There,
Yeah.
and I think that you're well on your way. You know, and we can't solve a problem without discussing it.
Right.
yeah.
And
Well,
I think what you just said resonates hard, what you said.
Well, let's say if the board ends up approving, let's say we recommend installing it, obviously it'd have to be on a voluntary basis, but would you think it wise to require new construction on an empty lot to put pervious concrete down? Obviously.
For safety reasons,
Yeah.
I would say there would have to be, we would have to come up with something. My thing is
Well-
I don't know how much it would take to make it, you know, what is it gonna take to keep it off the road?
Yeah.
You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's a shot in the dark, but at the same time, I happen to know there's not very many rocks going in the road when there's concrete driveways. You know what I mean? It's just-
Yeah.
So I would think that if you want to know the truth of what I believe that the ordinance, when it was written, especially on ocean front, was written backwards. It was written backwards because you couldn't have concrete at the road, but you could have it at the house if it was set back far enough. So nobody had anything really, but because it would have been a waste of time to have part of a driveway. But if it had been written the other way, if it had been written that you have to have at least 25 feet of clear space, a lot of people would have put in driveways. You know what I mean? Or why was there never an option for 10 feet of concrete and runners? Concrete runners. I mean, you see them in yacht lights. And you see them a lot in Pearland and Wine because of that, because of their rules over there. But, you know, there was a way to have done that other than what they did. Sort of like a easy fix, I guess.
So what about conflicts with the new stormwater direction though?
That's what I just said.
Yeah.
Maybe we need to talk to
Because
the,
they would have
and I
to,
brought that up the other night. We'll need to talk to the stormwater engineer. He was actually, for going to the 40% because we contain all of that on site. So now, you know, I mean, we're really, even if we went bigger, we're still containing more on site than we did before. In other words, if you had 30%, then 10% of it was sheet flow, wasn't going in the ground. So if you increase, you know, what I mean, then all 40% is now going in the ground, where only 36% did before. So he didn't, from an engineering standpoint, he didn't see an issue with that. And he's a firm believer, the one we have in Murphy's Concrete. He's actually the one that designed 114 OBE, and
he designed ours.
it's now 339 OBE. I'm very proud I got that email address. Feel like I can send my email to Elon now.
Is that Michael Norton?
Yes, Mike.
Well, I wouldn't think that that would be a conflict for pervious concrete. You know, he's, I don't know if the calculations are the same for
Well, it's,
whatever square footage or.
Well, it's a percentage based off of the air entrainment and the gaps and compression. It's a percentage. It's a percentage. You're gonna get about 3,000 is about what you want for a driveway for a normal heating. As long as the dump truck don't turn around in your driveway, you'll be all right.
Well,
That's what I was talking about.
That's the problem we were talking about before the meeting.
well,
What about other surfaces recommendation, like naturals, just like dirt, I mean, like grass?
It could,
That's what
that'll be what we come up with.
Because I'm just thinking of the walkways, right? A lot of the walkways, we got this 3-foot section of grass, there's concrete. Yes, and some people put gravel between that and the road. But you don't have, you just don't have as much of a rock problem as you do from the ocean side, at least when I read.
So one of the issues is that, believe it or not, especially in some of the areas, there's a higher elevation because of the dune system. And so
Yeah.
you got this in a lot of places.
Yeah.
That seems to be where most of the problem lies, is the houses with the higher elevation, and it's everything washing down.
Yeah,
yeah.
they drive up, drive down, and they're just moving. And one of the, I think one of the immediate problems we have is when DOT came along, they just kind of threw everybody's rocks up there.
Yeah.
And so there was a pile of
Yeah.
rocks.
So,
There's more rock than surface area.
There was more rock than.
That's absolutely what they do.
Yeah.
We can't just get a robot to drive up and down the island all day long blowing rocks.
Oh, we couldn't. That's
I know.
Josh's recommendation, I'll take it back to him.
get a sweeper,
We need it now, though, because it's gotta go in the budget.
sweeper on the front of the John Deere.
I've been thinking about this one, driving up and down. I mean, because it's voluntary. If it was not voluntary, this is a more straightforward conversation.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find a great solution. I know you said, hey, I would definitely do
Y'all
cement in your
can-
spot. He already said he would. There you got one.
What you can do is I would think about it.
Yeah.
We'll bring you some stuff back, and some pictures and stuff. Give it a lot of thought. It's coming from y'all. It has to come from you.
Any other islands that you know of that have, because I was thinking
I
about
don't
Oak
know,
Island and.
I'm not aware of any islands that had the restrictions for driveways the way we did.
Yeah.
Because I think that's how they saw, when they put the bike paths in, I'm not sure if y'all aware of it or not, but they repaired a lot of in-ground French drains that had been put in up the path. They took a bunch out. Yeah, I know that Calabash had a lot of flooding problems, and DOT actually put in a lot of drains and then abandoned them because they didn't have easements to put them in. They went across private properties and all that. But we got some of that here, where DOT did put in some drains, and then they no longer,
Or drains.
we got one out there between 426, maybe somewhere around in there. It's on the right-hand side, there's an outfall pipe that runs through somebody's yard that's got a drain into it. And I think they're trying to get an easement to deal with it. But that was theirs originally. So, yeah, I'm unaware of,
Yeah, because
I've worked in 3 different municipalities, I worked for 4 different municipalities, worked in 3 different, and I've done work in other counties and cities and helping them out and stuff. I've never seen an ordinance that did not allow a driveway, paved driveway. It's only here that I've ever seen it. And it makes sense.
yeah, it was a 300 block.
Well, would it be appropriate for us to officially, I don't know, state that there's a safety concern with the existing conditions involving rocks in the bike lanes and the streets? So we could recommend, I don't know, I know the board recently has assigned subcommittees, but we could just recommend to the board that,
They form a committee.
Well, between us and the stormwater people, I think we'd have to do it that way. It'd have to be a.
Yeah.
All together, without a doubt.
Well, I would make a motion to that effect, and then I can take it back on,
all right.
and then they can decide what they want to do.
All right.
Well, I'll move that, in consideration of the safety concerns with the current ordinances, we propose that we recommend to the Board of Commissioners that they form a subcommittee to identify possible solutions.
Yep. Okay, I'll second that.
This point of order, do we have to actually be more formal about that being us and the stormwater group, or is that good enough for language?
I think that's, can be done by, I think we've done that by consensus. I think the
Okay.
motion is basically saying that you want to form a committee of you and the stormwater committee,
Great.
you know what I mean? Made up of the planning board and the stormwater committee.
Right. To come up with some solutions. Or form a subcommittee, is it actually gonna be us and them, or just a whole new
But
committee?
it may be a
It's
handful
subset.
of
It's
you.
like one.
Yeah.
Technically, it's up to the board
Yeah.
of commissioners, because they name the,
My recommendation is going to be to have an equal amount of each board.
Okay.
It's going to be almost hard for staff to handle
Right,
10 to 12 people.
oh, yeah.
right.
Okay.
All right. That's a great idea.
So we need to vote on
Mark?
We need to
Yeah,
vote.
vote.
Yes, we do. So we're gonna,
You got a second on that? Any discussion?
No more discussion.
enough for me, that sounds like a great idea.
Yep.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Excellent.
Okay. It's unanimous to form that subcommittee. So
Also-
now that'll be brought to the Board of Commissioners and
I'll
then,
carry it to the board of commissioners,
okay.
something that y'all voted.
We don't need.
Got a question, how much is one of those street sweepers?
I don't know.
The old style?
I think one of those-
Or even the one that they used when they were doing the paving, when they.
Oh, yeah.
had that big wire brush thing.
Oh, well, something will happen where the rocks blow on somebody.
Yeah, somebody's car, damaged cars and.
I'll tell you this, I don't know how much they cost. It can't be as much as a 10-year-old child that ends up falling out in the road.
Yeah,
but-
Yeah.
Car.
Yeah, that is subcontract somebody to clean it every now and then.
Well,
Because
isn't the board-
DOT's only gonna clean it twice a year, right?
No, they're gonna pay for us according to the rules.
Yeah,
They're
pay
gonna
for us.
pay for us.
That's the
But it's,
word.
but it's like, but it's only supposed to be done twice a year.
That's all they'll
There's
pay
no
for.
way- there's no way you get away with doing that.
It's not- it's-
You do it once,
it's just
you do it
money
on a
for
regular basis.
Yeah.
You gotta do it, right?
If monthly at least, I would think.
It's better, so.
But even that's a
So
logical
it took
idea.
me, working with the DOT, it took me 8 years to get crosswalks
Mhm.
with the world location.
I remember that discussion.
took 8 years. I can show you what the first email was. And me and Rhonda had done all the legwork and everything and got approval in 2017.
Yeah.
Had to give up on flashing lights. That was one recommendation, also with
Well,
the crosswalk.
there was supposed to be one at Gordon Boulevard. There was supposed to be a
Oh,
light
yeah?
there. Yeah, I haven't made that phone call yet. There was supposed
You're
to be
taking your life.
like a crosswalk right there.
Yeah.
There's so
I
much.
still got this
Summertime.
I'm gonna ask them what happened to
Some
them.
people are like, I ain't stopping for anybody.
Thank you for doing that. I'll leave it at that.
Do you have any other further comments,
No, sir.
Nope.
discussion? Make a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Adjourned. Oh, you used my hammer.
Oh, there you go.